Alright guys, so this is the weekly recap for week commencing the 6th of April. This week has definitely been a good week, especially what's happening with the US and Iran conflict. I took one swing position this week which hit TP during the negotiations of that conflict, and I took an intraday position later on in the week which unfortunately hit stop loss. And looking back, I should probably have stayed out of that trade, but regardless, we're up for the week and it's been a good start to April. So without any further ado, we'll go into the charts. If there's any questions, please do drop them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll get into it. All right, so here we are on DXY. As you know from the previous videos, I always do my analysis here. So I'm just going on the weekly first of all, and we can see that we've got this weekly fair value gap that was created from the previous week. It's actually an inversion weekly fair value gap. Although this is not something, has been tapped this week, it's just something that I'm keeping an eye on, basically because I'm overall bullish on DXY. So if we go to the daily, this is where we start to piece things together. And at the start of this week, I had actually two biases, right? So this is Friday here, and I marked out this daily fair value gap, this very skinny one here, and I also marked out this order block as well. So it was stuck in between two POIs, right? So we've got a daily order block, like so, and then we've got this daily fair value gap as well. Okay, so two POIs. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do things a bit different. I'm going to go on my Discord here very quickly. I'm just going to show you for evidence, because I got some advice that I should actually share these on my YouTube videos a bit more. But at the start of the week, just go to this right now. This was my situation. So this is, you can see, the 6th of April. I do a little video for our community, just talking through my bias. And basically we had these two options, right? We had blue option from the daily fair value gap to push higher. And then we had the orange option, which is going to run through this daily fair value gap, meaning the daily order blocks in play, okay? So that was my kind of bias for the week. I'm going to bring this back on as we talk through the rest of the charts. So what I'm doing here is just showing that I'm actually, I'm not just saying these after the fact. I'm saying this before actually taking the trade, right? I'm sharing this with our community before actually, entering the trade. So what I was looking for Monday to open is as follows. So if I play this forward now, we're going to let Monday play out. You can see at the bottom there, it says Friday the 3rd of April, and we're going into the 6th of April. So this is the start of the week. Now straight away, we can see that this daily fair value gap was tapped, okay? And we can see here, if we go on the 4 hour, as Monday came in, it's displaced straight away. And for me, this displacement was very important for the orange idea I explained, right? So let's go back to the daily first of all. Remember, we've got this daily order block. We've also swept liquidity here, okay? So higher time frame liquidity. This is daily, weekly, and monthly liquidity. And we've also created this order block. Now for me, that is a high probability order block, simply because we've swept liquidity. It was bullish. As soon as it swept liquidity, it then, starts to push down with displacement, okay? So if we look at these fair value gaps as well, we've got a bullish fair value gap here. We've also got a bullish fair value gap here. These two are not important to me anymore because this price action closed below it. So these bullish fair value gaps are completely disrespected. I'm not interested anymore. We've also created a bearish fair value gap here, but Friday's candle disrespected it, right? So the only POIs on the table is this daily order block and this daily fair value gap. That's the only situation. However, because the way Monday expanded or displaced on the 4 hour, that gave me confidence that actually we are going to start pushing lower and the daily order block is in play. I'm just going to go back to the Discord now and just show you, what I was talking about. So this is just some Trump updates of what's happening with Iran, etc. You can see here, looking at this 4 hour fair value gap, respect versus disrespect. This is order flow, right? So this is how it's playing out. And by this point, I already had high of the week in. We had a liquidity sweep on the 4 hour as well. And just play it forward a little bit. You can see orange idea is still in play. Okay, and by this point, I'm updating our members that this is now in play, okay? It's still in play, the orange idea. So just going to draw this out. So this was the liquidity sweep on the 4 hour, as I did in the Discord. You can see here as well, we've got higher time frame high of the week was in for me by this point. And you can basically see that, the displacement. Now, because we don't trade DXY, we trade Euro. I'm going to talk you through that position on Euro I took. But in terms of targets this week, it for me was something called internal range liquidity. And internal range liquidity for me is this, right? I'll explain why that is in a second. So back from my ICT days, I understood something called external range liquidity. Okay, so this is external of the range, which has been swept. We created the order block. Okay, so this is the trade idea on. But then what price likes to do is seek internal range liquidity to execute orders in the market. Okay, so it's took external. Now I believe it's going to internal range liquidity, combined with the bias of the daily order block, the 4-hour displacement, and that kind of gave me the confirmation for this idea. Okay, this daily fair value gap, I think it was going to get ran through. Even though we've created this wick here, it didn't give me confidence that it was going to hold, okay? Because of the external range liquidity, the daily order block, we've got clear targets below here. And also there was kind of, although I'm not a fundamental trader, there was rumblings that Iran and US were in negotiations of, having a ceasefire. But we didn't know the outcome of that yet, okay? On Tuesday, early hours of the morning, that information was going to be released. So but when I saw this 4-hour displacement, liquidity on the 4-hour as well, I believe high of the week was in because of the things I've talked about prior. This is when I started to look on EU, okay? And basically, I believed that we have low of the week here on EU. Low of the week, like so. It was this here, Monday's candle, perfect. And I got in around about here off this kind of displacement. Bit too early, but I'm glad I got in early because as you can see, I do catch a bit of a push up before the ceasefire announcement happened. So for this one, we have a weekly fair value gap here as well. Again, with targets on EU, I'm not really looking at kind of, where's it going to react from, etc. Because I'm looking at DXY. I always base my targets off DXY, okay? Which, as you know, was the internal range liquidity. So at this point, I'm in the trade, okay, got in a bit early, and I'm just going to DXY now. We do get a strong push away on DXY. I'm just going to play this forward. Taps into this very small 4-hour fair value gap there. Can you see that? This 4-hour fair value gap just there. How that looks on EU is like this. And going back to DXY, we do get a strong push down, right? So there, we start to get a bit of a push down now, respecting this 4-hour, and this is how it looks on EU. When I saw this candle here, that was a good sign that I'm probably going to be holding through this news release of what Trump is going to do with this ceasefire. It could have gone all out war, could have returned against me, but because I'm a technical trader, that's all I can do, right? I can read the technicals. Yes, there's going to be a lot of news about the war and everything else that's happening in the world, but if we pay too much attention to that, we're never going to take a trade. So how this looks on DXY, you can see, play this forward, big push down. This was before the actual ceasefire. So how this looks on EU, really, really good strong push up. It's a bit higher TP wise, I believe, about 3 something R. And then by this point, go back to the Discord here. You can see I'm in the trade at this point. It's just sharing with our members what I'm in. Some information about the war here as well. And this video I'm doing here is for our members. So we have got some questions about, should I be coming out? Should I stay in? Should I be moving stop loss to break even? And in this video, I'm just explaining back your decision, right? Because what you don't want is hindsight bias. I should have stayed in. I should have come out. I want people to own their decision, okay? That's what's going to build you experience with trading. You can see here, IRL is my target. Basically what I've just said to you guys on this video. So IRL here, this is on the 4-hour, and that was the target. And you can see I woke up the next day on the 8th of the 4th, and we had a huge gap hitting TP. I'm going to talk you through that now. So I'm just going to play this forward. There we are. That's the jump, right? That's the gap, and it hit TP, which was the IRL, the internal range liquidity. How that looks on EU, is like so, right? So TP was hit and we're out of the trade, okay? So that was the trade. I'm going to show you what was gained. I'm just going to go to winning trades here. So we all caught this, but these were mine. Where are we? So here, that was the trade idea. I came out. That's on the 1 hour time frame. That's why it might look a bit different. This was, oh no, sorry, this was not it. Hang on. Let me go to this week. Apologies. Yeah, so this is what we all caught. Let me just go to mine a second. Here's mine. So there's one of my positions, 4030 on EU. And then this is another position here, again, on a different account. You can see the dates as well, the 8th of the 4th, what I've just shared with you guys. So the 8th of the 4th, hit TP in the early hours of the morning, and there you go, okay? So that was it, right? Had low of the weekend for EU because high of the week was in on DXY. All I was doing is reading the bias of this. External range liquidity, we create a daily order block, right? When Monday opened, we reacted from that order block with displacement. We did sweep liquidity, which extra confirmation on the 4 hour as well. Because of that displacement, I was happy high of the week was in, and you can see it just melted, and that is why it hit TP, okay? Now, you might be wondering, why did I come out of the trade at internal range liquidity? Well, simply because it's a major liquidity zone. Yes, it will probably come to this weekly fair value gap, or it could do, but as you can see, if we go to Friday real quick, it has not actually come and tapped it, right? Very close, but it's not actually tapped it. So I'm kind of happy I came out. Yes, I could have caught this move, but if I stayed into the weekly fair value gap, then I would be, dealing with potentially a, a bit of a psychology issue there. So that was it. That was the swing position. We all caught that, which was great. And yeah, really good trade. Really good because of the ceasefire, the news, the anticipation behind it is just purely technical analysis. Now, let's talk about the silly intraday trade I took. So basically it was this. Go to here. This is on Thursday. And basically my idea was that we've not tapped this weekly fair value gap. Okay, we've shot back up and we've displaced on the 4 hour, creating this 4 hour fair value gap. Okay, so we created that, and my thinking was it's going to come into here, fill some more of this gap, and then potentially come down. Right, that was my idea. Whether it comes that high, I don't know. It might come to here, but basically that's going to be the idea. So I was trading this. See this move here, retracement. Now, why I think it's silly is because maybe a bit of hindsight bias, but I didn't need to take this trade. I could have just cracked on with the week. Retracement trades are, less probability in my book. I did stick to the rules, but I should have probably just stayed out, right? So I did take a 1% loss on this, and I'll talk you through this. So it displaced on the 4 hour, didn't tap the weekly fair value gap, and what I'm looking for on the 15-minute, once it taps into this 4 hour fair value gap, is displacement away. So just play this forward a little bit. This happens on Thursday. Yep, it's Thursday. So I'm just waiting for this to tap into the fair value gap. Okay, so we've tapped into it now fully. We've created some bearish POIs here, and I'm wanting some of these to get disrespected. Okay, so I'm playing this forward. And as you can see in a second, we have strong displacement, and basically it knocks out these bearish fair value gaps, right? Disrespects it. So this candle here runs through and disrespects. So at this point, when I saw this displacement, I got into the trade, okay? And it creates a very small 15-minute fair value gap there as well, which is good for my intraday positions. Just going to get rid of this now. This is the old trade. And basically, it was this candle, like so. So I was probably in about here. And I believed that this was going to be high of the day, right? So high of the day now, because of the intraday position, not high of the week, okay? Basically, because I'm thinking it's going to retrace on DXY. I wasn't going to be greedy on this one. It was going to be just a nice 2R trade, in and out, like so. I'm going to go back to DXY, and you can see DXY taps into this fair value gap, and at this point I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good sign. It comes all the way up here, but eventually it pushes straight down, disrespects this, and as you can see, I am out of the trade. Okay, so very in and out quickly. It was a risky position. I should know better, but I want to share this stuff with you because not many people share this stuff on social media, right? I don't know why that is, but this is the reality of trading, and yeah, that was my bad. Risky trade. I'm up for the week. I only lost 1%, so I'm still very much up for the week. I think basically with the trades I took, it was like a 10 grand week. 1% loss on this. And even if you're talking R's, what's that? So I took a 3R on one account, and then it was a 2R on the other account. So that's 5R. So 4R for the week, right? Because of this loss. So yeah, I'm going to learn from that, and hopefully you'll see more of these, and just being, a bit more okay with not trading. Okay. So that is basically it, guys. That is basically the trades for this week. Really happy with the swing position. I'm happy I stuck to the rules of the intraday, but I should have just stayed out, right? Retracement trades, I should know better, and yeah, it is what it is. So that is basically it for this week. That was basically it. Really good week for our members as well. We all kind of was up for that week, which is really good. And more importantly, it's a really good start to the month of April. So really, really good stuff. If you've got any questions from this, please do let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, and I'll be giving another weekly recap next week, and hopefully we have another green week. All right, guys, that's enough for me. Enjoy your weekends wherever you are, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.